touted as one of the best video games of all time. When it came out, it was all anybody could talk about. Hundreds of Let's Plays popped up on YouTube. Entire communities were formed, and theories were tossed about like you would not believe. And we even got a follow-up in the form of Part 2 that came out a few years ago. The thing is The Last of Us, it changed the face of gaming. The entire approach to writing and creating video games just shifted. The story isn't exactly original, but it's compelling. And both the quality of the script and the voice acting were high tier, especially in an industry that is so famous for being somewhat lazy and sloppy when it comes to, the narrative. The thing is none of us particularly cared about the story of a video game until we realized that we could care about the story. This definitely wasn't the first video game to ever put emphasis on the story, but the way the game was created crafted an entirely new way of interactivity. And it's that interactivity within the game that connected you to the story. It connected you to the characters. The hopelessness and oppressiveness of this dark world, it gripped you. It's a game, and it takes full advantage of that. The stealth and the scarcity, it puts you in the place of desperation of the characters. It creates conflict in your mind by forcing you to do things that you don't want to do. But it's all about moving forward. So how did they do it? Well, they established the tone of the entire game in the first 15 minutes. You have a family that's been shattered. You have tragedy and loss and absolute chaos. It's more emotional than any of us were prepared for. And it stuck with you. You feel so helpless and lost in this dark world. And that's when they introduced that one aspect that keeps you going. Hope. Hope for a future. Hope for a cure. Hope that this isn't the end. Gaming is a billion-dollar industry. So every once in a while, you need something new to come along that fundamentally changes how we play video games. The relationship between developer and gamer is an important one, and one that they tend to forget about. Because if your audience isn't engaged, then they're not going to bite. Churning out more of the same doesn't work. You need to shake things up. You need to innovate. You need to create. Any industry tends to stagnate until it gets a kick in the ass. And that's exactly what The Last of Us did. It created a whole new market and standard. So they're creating a show. There have been rumors of a movie in the works for years, but they're finally creating a series. The biggest fear by any fan is always that the adaptation will not honor the original. But we might actually be in safe hands here, because both the original writer and director both have hands in the development. So hopefully we won't lose anything in the process. They're saying that they're making additions to expand and enhance, whatever that means, and the fuck if I know. We don't exactly know what the show is going to cover. Some people say the time period before the series, and some people say the time period between the games. And some people say that it's only going to cover the first part of the first game with the potential to continue. Really, it could be a whole slew of things. Maybe we'll get flashbacks to that 20-year period of after the outbreak and before the actual beginning of the game. That was something that was only sort of glossed over and hinted at in-game with a few vague lines. What about the Left Behind? Ellie's past with Marlene and Riley. That period of time up until she was bitten. We do know that Pedro Pascal has been cast as Joel. Coming off the success of The Mandalorian and the not quite success of Wonder Woman 1984, this is a huge name to have pinned to this project. And we already know that he's very good at playing that reluctant father figure. I mean, the memes that have come out of that are beautiful. Bella Ramsey has been cast as Ellie, and she is more than capable of bringing to life the emotion of this character and in tackling intense combat. What I am hopeful for is the inclusion of LGBT representation in the show, because it's already present in the games, with Ellie and her girlfriend. Her sexuality is not going to be erased. And we have the tweets to prove that this is not going to be slashed from the show. But I am worried in one regard, and that it's going to be an HBO show. I don't want this relationship to become something that is so overtly sexualized. I don't want it to be something that's only included because it tantalizes and teases, because, it's hot. I want them to be treated like real people and not sexual objects. Will that happen? Who knows? I'm both absolutely terrified and super excited that The Last of Us is going to be coming to life once again on screen for us. But it's not something that we're likely to see until at least 2022, just based on the state of the world and hopeless chaos right now. But it does give hope to a future.
They were coming in from every direction, then Maria was like, we gotta run, and so we dove over these tables, and this huge guy blasted with a shotgun.
Slow down. Listen, hey, are you hurt?
No.